Yeah, good evening. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to EEP 15. Today I would like to give you the usual build overview and then show you what is probably one of the last operational things that we are going to do in this layout. But let me first show you and walk you over the changes that have been made. I've worked here a little bit on the western outlet that used to be all very plain base texture flat, and make it into movement. It looks better. I've started now putting here a little bit topology in. I think it looks actually, this particular part looks very good. It looks realistic. I don't know. It makes a huge difference in how you arrange the hills, and I think that I'm very happy with this one in any case. However, if you just look at one that is slightly different, it already looks not so good anymore. If I go to this pasture or this meadow, then it's not the missing cows. I think that this hill is just not quite as, I don't know, maybe it's too uniform texture. I have to do something about it. It's not terrible, it's fully okay. But I thought the previous one, I go back to that one, looks somehow better, and I still have to learn what makes a difference between one and the other. What one perceives as realistic, where the other one is kind of okay, but not quite as realistic. That's kind of the rules of realism I'm trying to discover. Anyhow, that is this part. So I'm trying to get now the empty areas into a shape that is not perhaps picture perfect and cute everywhere, but presentable. I also created forest around this castle, which I think is okay. Extended a little bit the farmland, put in a pasture here with some cows and some fences. I think that it's all okay, good enough. That is not an area that we will later focus on. It is just something that shouldn't look completely empty from the distance. You see there are many areas yet still to be done. So this is, well, when I started this layout, I actually thought it's not too large. It is actually modestly sized, I thought, but it turned out to be way too large after all. I should have started yet smaller, and that's, you know, the lesson that everybody tells you: start small. You see what happens if you go just a little bit too large, and then it is very difficult to finish every area in the way you'd like it. Here I built a little bit fruit harvest, apple harvest. That is, you know, that's okay. I also finally worked on what I call the winter sport resort, where people are now sledding and skiing up in the mountains, and I built this little, well, let's call it a Swiss village here, kind of, with some hotels and some tourists, and we have here the station where everybody who doesn't come by car will go to. This boardwalks across here, they don't really look wintry. That's the only thing I'm not convinced about. The rest I think is kind of okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not very detailed. It's not, you know, if you go close and look at every corner, it looks kind of empty between the houses. But I think that is perfectly alright. I'm not sure if I did it the right way. I have the skiers in an endless loop. So the skiers, they basically have a virtual connection to the top and then they just start again. While the sladders come out of a depot, because it's just a single ramp here. So the depot starts them here at top and spits them out. If I make a virtual connection with them, somehow they accelerate forever, and I do not know how to stop that. They get to like 300 miles per hour eventually, and so that's why I installed the depot. What else has changed? Oh yeah, now I'll show you a very bad area. Something I think that is one of the worst areas in the whole layout, well, besides the empty ones. That is my city here, or my small town. First of all, it's not really a small town, of course. These buildings are a little bit too large for that. I realize that. That's not the issue. But here, this empty area, there used to be just this big marketplace, and that looks terrible. So I put now a church in, and some other more historic looking buildings. But somehow, I know, it doesn't look right. It is kind of awkward, and I have no idea how to fix it. That is something I'm scratching my head. I told you often before that I'm not the most creative person, and while I know exactly that it is not right, I'm not really sure what to do to make it right. I could, of course, get rid of this modern high-rises and put something in like this everywhere, also in the middle. Perhaps not even focus on the middle. I don't think from the front view that is acceptable. It's nothing wrong about it. But from this view, it's terrible. And I have to find out what if anything, I do. So long story short, I've made many mistakes, not just this one, in this layout. And I have to kind of find out how to do that better in my future layouts. But this ends up like a big experimental learning sandbox. I tried everything that is around, every type of operation, every type of building. We have farmland, coal plants, harbors, big and small train stations, industry, residential areas, and so on, you name it. And it's maybe good to learn what to do and what not to do, and that is actually a good experience. So anyhow, the other thing I wanted to do today, besides showing you the building update, is an operation that brings a train into the train station. I've switched off most of the traffic at the moment, and what I plan to do is I will bring a train here into the train station and then make an engine switch. And in this first part, or maybe that's the only part, I'm not sure, I'll just take the engine and drive it back. It will be a steam engine, and drive it into the roundhouse, which is here. And that's what we're going to do now. And now I start this parcel train, which is in the section for the special trains. I do that still manually, and I let it go. And this train is branch parcel, yeah. And we'll see. I'm just making sure it actually gets going. And then we'll not drive on it for an extended period of time. Even though actually there's one section I wanted to show you that I forgot to show you in the build section. So I'll probably cut out here, and when we are in this section, I'll just show that part, and we'll take it from there. So now we approach on the branch line the Lauscher station. And that is where we did our lumber shunting. It's on the northern side of the layout. And here again I introduced some forests in the background, and I further detailed this this little village around the train station. It used to be just a station building and nothing else, and now, at least, you know, from a distance, it looks okay. It doesn't warrant any detailed scrutiny, but it's okay. So now we jump ahead again, and I'll get back to you once we approach the main train station. So here we are. We are just coming into the station. Yeah, now the routes work. I think that is a safe issue always. When you stop the layout in the middle of the operation, then you have an issue. This is actually a very nice engine, a Series 50. And I hope that we now park these cars here and leave them there and take the engine into the roundhouse. Well, so far so good. I'm not sure why this was blocked. At the moment I switched off most of the traffic. Here you won't see anything else. There shouldn't be any collision risk, but I used the Fahrstraße for here, or a predefined route, just to avoid collisions with freight trains on the main line that come into the opposite direction here. They would have to stop at this signal. But at the moment I want to focus on getting this part correctly and not let the engine stand there waiting for oncoming traffic forever. You see, there are many areas that are kind of semi-completed or a quarter completed, but not nearly enough to be considered a finished layout, so there's a lot of work to be done. I want to finish this and without getting into too much detail. I wanted to finish it just enough that it is acceptable and then move on, basically, but it's a big task. So we change direction, and the good news is that we're already facing backwards now, which means that we are in the direction you want to go into the roundhouse. I believe that was always done backwards. So this engine has a function for personnel. You can have people in there driving. I don't have it activated right now. But I didn't find a function to switch off the steam. I'm not sure if that's just me or if the engine doesn't support it. I have to look this up. But that's fine. Though once the engine is in the roundhouse, if it gets there, we will ignore the steam and just call it a day. I've tested this once but made some changes again, but it should work, I hope. So the engine is now at 20 kilometers per hour, should now soon start to slow down. Yeah. A set of doors should open to receive the engine. Yeah, so far so good. Initially I wanted to do the coaling today as well, and we will do the coaling eventually, but this engine will just go into a parking position for now. Yeah, it was actually fairly easy. It's a structure contact that controls the turntable, and you can actually step it up. You don't have to do any calculations. in how far you go. You just say 2 steps and it goes 2 steps or 2 track positions further over. And the same as with opening the doors. You just have to figure out in which direction A or B those doors move. So right, A is open and B is closed, and for left it's the other way around. That's just trial and error, I guess. So the engine goes in, it reverses direction but is being caught by a signal, and if you ever wanted to release it you had to do something with that signal and would just drive out again. So beautiful. That's it for today. The next step would be, and I haven't done that yet, it would be to just go there, take those cars that are kind of in the way here with a new engine and either put them here into these parcel processing areas, or maybe just move on and keep going and drive out of the station, go elsewhere. Then we call it just an engine change. That's perfectly alright. And that thing is still active. That's what last time happened. I have to make a signal contact to release this predefined route. That is the problem. And I haven't done that, apparently. So, yeah, that was it for today. You got a building update. We got this little driving into the engine shed or roundhouse part, and I'll keep you posted in how I move from here. Have a wonderful evening and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.